to Ceph Easy, Break and Fix with Mike today. People that have tried Ceph over the years have often complained that it's hard to set up, maintain, and optimize. In this series, Ceph Easy, we want to show you the current state of things and how easy Ceph has become these days. Today, together with Mike, we will break a Ceph cluster and let Mike figure out what exactly happened to it, and then we'll help him fix it again. So Mike is my newest team member, and he is a seasoned sysadmin, but has almost no experience with Ceph. We have already recorded one show, so he is somewhat familiar with the very basics of Ceph. But today, we have a little bit more advanced problem for him, and let's see if we can solve that. So let me just introduce some failure to our Ceph cluster. So my little script that I prepared didn't work. That's obvious. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I can manually break things.
Hopefully, in a real world scenario, you're not talking to the person that's breaking your things.
Okay. How does your pager look like, Mike?
So I've got cluster status here, health worn. I noticed on the right hand side, one of my OSDs is down. Let's see what else I can kind of derive from here. So objects, I've got 17% degraded. That makes sense because I've got an OSD down. Warnings for the PG. So let's click on health worn. One OSD down, degraded redundancy. Makes sense. Okay. So how do we fix that? Let's... OSD. Let's see. Troubleshooting OSDs. Well, right there. Troubleshooting OSDs. So we've got most common Ceph OSD errors. I'm really hoping this is one of them. Let's see OSD error messages to see what, okay, health worn we've got. Makes sense. Want to look at cluster logs to see. All right, PG is stuck undersized for 62 seconds. Undersized and degraded. Okay. My alerts. What's interesting, I don't have any active alerts here, but I guess it's, since it's warning, it's a degraded state. So,
yeah, so this wouldn't be an alert or a thing that would necessarily wake you up in the middle of the night. This is something that just happened during the regular work hours, and now you need to figure out what's wrong here.
Okay. So then tell us about your visit. I will later.
So do you know what the problem is?
I'm gonna guess that it says stuck undersized. I'm guessing that they're filling up. That there's more, like, if they're undersized.
So your capacity is, you're reaching your capacity?
Yeah, that I'm thinking it's a capacity issue, that things are becoming degraded because, or maybe imbalanced. Because we've got 37 active, 47 clean, 20 gig data, and this is active, undersized, and degraded. So maybe
Your dashboard would show you your overall capacity.
okay. So raw capacity used and available, 8%. So that's okay. So it looks like it's probably just an OSD down then. I don't know that because capacity's fine, right? Yeah. So, and this PGC logs for more details. Active undersized and active undersized degraded.
But keep talking. You're giving me great ideas for more things to break.
This is why I liked being a software tester in my earlier career. Let's see. Starting, stopping, rebalancing. I might want to see about rebalancing. But at first I need to figure out if that's the case or not. So, near full OSDs. Health worn, near full. Let's look at Ceph OSD DF. Okay, so DF is going to give me disk size. OSD DF. Aha, so we do have an OSD down. So then the question is, how do we bring it back up? Okay, down OSDs. Documentation, thank you. Okay, so we're going to go through the details here. Determine which OSD is down, Ceph health detail, so we're going to use that. Woo! That's a laundry list. Okay, so scrolling back up, 1 failed Ceph admin daemons, 1 OSD down, degraded data redundancy. Okay, lots of information. But OSD 2 on Ceph demo 3 is in an error state. Cool. Okay. So we know OSD 2 on Ceph demo 3 is the culprit. So we can even switch over to Ceph demo 3 we've got prepped here. And then, okay, system CTO, try to restart the OSD daemon. Let's see, OSD demo with the ID. Okay, so let's be careful about this too, because the OSD.2. Question for you, Chris, is it OSD.2 or is it just 2? So systemctl.
It does depend actually on the command. Sometimes it's OSD.2, sometimes it's just 2. But you can do systemctl and then just pipe it into crep in crep for OSD, for example, and then you get like the full thing.
Oh, okay. That is perfect. Grep OSD. Perfect. There it is. It even shows failed. Thanks, systemctl. So then we can do systemctl. What was that command again? Restart Ceph OSD. Is it dash OSD? Yes, dash OSD at OSD.2, because that's what I'm seeing here is at OSD.2 for the service. So let's go ahead and failed to restart unit Ceph service not found. Okay, so I probably did that wrong. Let's
just to help our viewers, could you zoom in a little bit on the documentation page?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Ooh, a little too far. There we go.
That's cool.
Perfect. So let me try with just 2. Nope. So service not found in both. Actually, so it should be OSD. I believe it should be OSD.2.service because it's got loaded failed here up at the top. So I'm actually restarting the systemctl service itself. And I'm not. So maybe.
You can copy the name from above. That's long string too. That's the full name.
Okay. That's why I'm not getting any joy here. Actually, yeah, I would like to paste. So hopefully that's the winner. Job failed. Control process exited with error code. Journal. Okay, well, we can see status. So maybe it's a hung process. Okay, service is enabled. Preset disabled. Stopped OSD. Failed to start. Repeated too quickly, I guess. I'm not seeing that. You know what? Here. Let's do this. There we go. So, yep. Start request repeated too quickly. Failed with result exit code. Failed to start Ceph OSD 2. Start request repeated too quickly. Interesting. Okay. So, we tried to restart. If you're not able to restart the OSD, follow the Ceph OSD daemon cannot start. Well, let's follow that. So, if you have a node containing a number of OSDs, verify the default maximum of threads is sufficient. Okay, so we may want to open that and check that out. Turn on partition Ceph volume LVM lists, so we can try that real quick. So Ceph volume LVM list. Okay. A little help, Chris. Is Ceph volume not, or is it Ceph space volume? We have a.
No, that's just fine. Let me just see where it is. Usually when you do Ceph commands, then people expect you to run this in the Ceph ADM shell. So if you go back to demo 1, that's your admin node where you can run Ceph commands, and you go into Ceph ADM shell, and then just a Ceph ADM space shell.
Yep.
And that drops you into an environment where you have all the necessary binaries.
Ceph volume, LVM list. Okay.
No, this is only from this host.
Yeah.
You could try doing that on demo 3, I guess.
Alright, Ceph ADM shell. Nope. Not found.
But you can install it.
Yeah, that's true. Apt get.
Where you employed again?
What's that?
DNF.
The repo. Where's the repo? Uh-oh.
DNF install.
What is it?
This is a rel host.
Oh, okay. What is it? DNF install?
Yep.
Man, that has changed. I remember rel 3.
So DNF space install.
Whoop. Yep. All right.
It is fairly similar to apt-get to help us sysadmins.
Yeah, that was pretty easy to do. Fantastic. Let's go ahead and Ceph admin shell, and now we're there. We can do Ceph dash volume LVM list. Okay, so we've got using this. I'm only really seeing OSD 5. So that didn't help with any diagnosis. Good to know the command. Well, actually, no, it did help because the OSD is not mounted if it's not detecting that with LVM list. So OSD5 is mounted. OSD2 is not showing up. So maybe that's just unmounted. The PID count, let's go here and see. I don't love messing with this stuff if it isn't necessary. So we'll keep that in our hat just in case. So how do we check to see if the OSD is mounted? Flapping OSDs? Because I know flapping means on, off, from network flapping. Replacing an OSD drive. Contacting IBM support. Well, we're going to assume that's us. Okay, so let's see what we're going to do here. Let's look at what replacing the drive. So Ceph admin shell, Ceph OSD tree, grep down. Okay, so let's go into let's go into the Ceph shell and check the OSD tree. So we're already here. Ceph OSD tree. Okay.
So this is because you're not on an admin node. So you can only do local commands, but this would be a cluster command. You need to run that on an admin node.
Okay, so that's cool. We'll go back to here. I believe we're already in Ceph shell. So Ceph, our command here was what? OSD tree. Okay. So we do know OSD2 is down. That's confirmed. So that's another way to view that. So that's helpful. Mark it as out to rebalance and copy its data to the other OSDs. So I don't know that I want to remove this so much as I want to remount it. That's a question. So because this is taking it out of working order, that would rebalance the data between other disks, between other volumes, and then you would add a new OSD thinking that that's a fresh new object store, right? So I think where I want to go, let's go back, stopping, starting, mounting the OSD data partition. So I'd like to try that. Because replacing seems a little bit extreme. I would rather just figure out what that looks like. Cluster name, OSD number. So how do I find out what that is? Cluster name, OSD. So first, Ceph demo here. I need to find out what the cluster name is. So that's SDD. So hang on one second. So I just put in fdisk-l, which is just going to be listing hardware, just the hardware disks themselves. Obviously, I can see the underlying NVMe disks here. And then I've got my OSD block device here. So disk dev mapper, very long UUID. And then same thing here. Now the question, so those are two different ones. That's got C on the end and B on the other. So I've got two here identified through fdisk, but I'm not sure. Let's see. So OSD2 is showing down. I've got 2 and 5. I'm not sure how to map that to the information here. I'm guessing LVM might be better. I'm not really sure I remember LVM commands, so let's go ahead and just LVM help. And then list all logical volumes in all volume groups. So LV scan would be okay. So that shows me the same stuff I saw in fdisk-L, right? I've got the devices, only that's the LVM device name. Shows active. So these disks are active in the Linux storage subsystem, but not active within Ceph. So Ceph has an unmounted OSD, but it is available to the operating system. So we know that Red Hat, so RHEL can see the disks, LVM can see an active volume. We just need to mount that. So then the question I'm still running into, mounting the OSD data partition. Okay, so if it's not mounted, this makes sense. So when we tried to restart that service, the OSD daemon could not start from systemctl because the OSD data partition is not mounted correctly. So that's fantastic. We've got that. I can see that the disk is available in the operating system. Hopefully that's healthy. LVM reports that as active. So we're good there. So I'm imagining that this OSD is unmounted, and I need to figure out how to define these partitions. So I've got my command mount-o, no a time. The device is going to be one of these two, but how do I figure that out?
So, you know those famous words, have you tried turning it off and on again?
True. That is, and actually I just realized I ran those LVM commands on demo 1. So okay, that's why. That was, so LVM does not see the other device. So what you just said, so reboot the server, I'm guessing, is that the hint?
I mean, I don't know.
Question being, how do we do that in a healthy manner?
The good thing is that this is a Ceph cluster, right? So it is a cluster of multiple nodes, and we do have 3x replication. So no, any node can go down, and there's no problem with the data or access to any of the storage systems like block, file, or object, right? So you can safely, at any time, reboot a node for whatever reason. But when the node comes back, you will potentially have to resync it. That takes away a little bit of performance. But fortunately for us, this cluster is not very active, so we can face those issues.
That's fair. So I'm looking at and to that point, something I do know is that with all flash, the 3 node that works for 3 node. Is it correct to say for spinning disk, is it 4 nodes or is it still 3 nodes?
It's still 3 nodes. If you replicate 3 times, it doesn't matter what kind of disk you have.
Perfect. Okay, cool. So I just repeated, unfortunately, with the disks sleuthing I was doing, I did it on demo 1. So demo 3, fdisk does show me the devices, 2 devices for volumes. And then LVM, when I issue those commands above, LVM did not show a second OSD. So the volume isn't mounted within LVM. I'm going to go ahead and, like I said, I don't remember LVM commands very well. So with your...
Do you know what LV scan does?
So LV scan is pulling the mounted volumes? Is that...
Do you want to check out the help page or the man page?
Let's check out help. And LVScan, list all logical volumes in all volume groups.
So if I remember correctly, it doesn't only list them, but even scans for them. So LVM, on each disk that participates in LVM, LVM writes a header to the disk, and that then later helps LVM recognize the disk and where it belongs to, and etc. So if it's not listed in there, there might be something wrong with the disk.
Okay. Good to know. That let's go with the I'm gonna go ahead and reboot, and since we know these are virtual machines and they've got SSDs underneath, they're gonna come back up pretty quickly.
So you think you can get the note back up?
I'm not really sure on that one.
Okay, that's right. It'll come back up. I didn't break it that hard.
I was gonna say I'm not exactly sure what you did to it, Chris. Oh man. Wait. So I'm still getting. System is not booted. System D is it can't operate. Okay. So do I shut down -R now? You gonna like that? No. What did?
You are still in the Ceph ADM shell.
Another lesson. Remember where you are. So reboot should work here. There we go.
You can press R to restart a session once it comes back up.
Yeah. And then over here we can, if you're impatient, you can do what I do and just ping it forever until it comes back up. Because pinging actually helps servers restart faster. I don't know if you know this or not. But I don't know why we all do this. Like I've seen a number of admins we just ping it until it's back up. So yeah, there we go. So now my session, let's see, there we go. Root. Okay. I'm gonna clear that and so LVM LV scan, see what that says. Uh-oh. Yeah, no, still not seeing. So there might be something wrong. You were giving me a huge hint with something being wrong with that disk. Guessing no header. So then, all right. It's not mounted and it's not available. So do we replace it at this point? If it's corrupted or somehow. Okay, hang on. So let me think through this. Typing mount just because that is a lot. Okay, we're gonna. That was my bad. Mount. Let's see if we get OSD. Grep. OSD. Nope. Okay. So OSDs are not going to be in mount. Where do varlib ceph OSD? Okay. Okay. So I'm just going to check this out. So let's go varlib ceph. Oh. So this tells me something right here. So varlib ceph. Actually, hang on. That should be OSD. Maybe that's why I'm not getting. Okay, OSD. No? That's the only folder in there. All right.
You might have found a documentation bug.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say that's it's varlib ceph, and then that's not what's in there. That's okay. So, but then, so what's in here? Okay, we got some stuff. OSD2. All right, so let's see what file was written and when. Okay, they've all been updated recently. Who am I? Ceph fst config. So
what's that red stuff in your terminal?
oh, that's nothing. This is the device mapper for a block device. That is, oh, that's a big hint. So that's my block device of this OSD. Is that the...
How does that look like for SD5, which is still good?
Let's see. Let's do ll./5. Well, it's yellow, so we just have a color problem. We just need to change that to yellow.
Ah, that's all.
So, all right. So red probably meaning bad. This is so. It's a symlink, right? You've got a broken symlink for the block device. This would be pointing towards that device, but since it's red, it's indicating that symlink is broken. This one is healthy. If I am correct, I've got an L here, so that's a soft link. So dev mapper, so that's fine. So my symlink is broken for the block device. Okay, so then how do I fix it? Oh, you really broke this thing.
So the def mapper stuff is usually, the entries are usually created by udef stuff. In one of the things that can create them, for example, are LVM, LVs, right? And we already detected, okay, the LV scan didn't show up on our second disk. So I think at this point, in a non-virtualized environment, we would probably check the health status of that disk.
Okay. So I'm going to go back to LVM and see VG scan, search for all volume groups. But well, so let's see. This is physical volumes. Ooh. Let's see. LV convert, create, extend. Information about volume. So VGS. So LVM VGS. Okay. So I do have both of them in there. I believe if we go back up to, so that's, oh, these are not indicative of the same devices then. Yeah, those don't link up to the same names. So we do see two volume groups. Well, we do see those are mounted too. Before that was not. Huh. Okay. So hang on. So that symlink is still broken. I am very confused right now. Let's see, Ceph shell. Oh, Ceph ADM shell. Whoops. All right. What was the command I was going to Ceph? Let's check the status again. Those are interesting. Okay. Keyring found. I don't think that has anything to do with what we're looking at, though. Okay, so
You're not on an admin node.
That's why it's I keep on forgetting. Remember where you are and be on an admin node. So remember the commands to type. That's not one of them. Ceph status here. So the daemon is still failed, but the volume is. So can we restart? Grab OSD. OSD 5, OSD 6. So hang on, through restart, I've got a new OSD. Okay, so status. Okay, this is a little messy, so hang on one second. Let's go back to there. Okay, so OSD 6 is new. I'm guessing. So the Ceph admin daemon, but that's. I am so confused right now. Okay, so one OSD is down and one is out. Seven total. All right. Let's see what I've got here. All right, so then
7 OSDs? That sounds weird.
yeah. Okay, so this is the part where I'm going to guess that there's some type of self-healing functionality that the cluster is going to remount, but it's not going to introduce a new OSD without manual intervention. But it did remount the other OSD as a new OSD number 6. So 2 failed, 6 is new, 6 is fine. So how do I remove 2 and introduce 6?
Yeah, how do you remove 2?
Well, so down OSD, that's the one that I didn't want to do before, but try to restart the daemon. The daemon doesn't exist anymore. So that's out. Daemon did not start. Okay. Oh, well, that is an error that I got. Missing keyring. I feel like I'm going down a rabbit hole on that, though. Let's see.
So I think we want to remove OSD2 now.
Yes. Let's... Okay, replacing an OSD drive. Ceph can mark an OSD down as a consequence of networking or permissions problems. Removing the OSD. Perfect. We got that, and yep, we we even fit our prerequisites. We have to have one OSD down. So, all right. So we already ran this. We're gonna run this again. Ceph OSD tree. That's an old friend right there. We'll go back to that. I'm gonna clear up our space real quick. Ceph admin shell. We're gonna go to Ceph OSD tree. And we already know that SSD2 is down, been replaced by 6, which is up. Let's see what the documentation has to say here. Okay, so Ceph OSD out. I believe it is already out, but we're going to run through the motions here anyway. OSD.2 is already out. Okay.
There's also a note about this.
Note, if OSD is down, Ceph marks it as out automatically after 6. Oh, so I've been doing this for over 10 minutes because it is automatically marked out when it's not had any heartbeat packet. So that makes sense. That's good to know. Ensure that the OSD is backfilling, so we'll go to Ceph-W grep for backfill. Might give us a second or two.
So what you want to see is that there is a backfill going on, and then after that your PGs go back into an active and clean state, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what state are your PGs right now?
I had degraded, but let's double check. So my PG statuses are clean now. Before we had warning. So from the reboot, we've got the PGs are now clean. So hopefully the backfill is completed. Should be active, clean to active. Because nothing's listing is degraded right now.
Yeah, so I would say you can proceed.
Okay, that's kind of what I was guessing too. I'm going to terminate that. Here, the OSD I'm guessing is going to be stopped already, but we're going to do that anyway. So, Ceph orc daemon stop OSD.2. Oh, okay. So that's interesting to me too. So the OSD is down, but it's still listed in the Ceph cluster. And by issuing a stop, it's saying, okay, the OSD it's recognized as down, but Ceph still looks at it as a part of that cluster. So it's issuing a stop to demo 3, if I'm not mistaken. And then here we can remove it. OSD ID. Okay, so here's what you were talking about before, where sometimes it's just a number. So let's look at that. Ceph orc OSD RM2 dash replace. Okay. All right, replacing the physical drive. Nice to know. I'm guessing the physical drive is replaced. Thank you, Chris. And then deployed automatically by Ceph Orchestrator. So, is there any way to check this stat? Let's see Ceph status. One stray daemon not managed by Ceph ADM. 10 pools. PGs are healthy. They're full.
So I think at this point you pretty much fixed the issue. This is going to recover by itself after a little while. For time's sake, I would cut it short now. Let me give you a little bit more background on what happened. So there was an admin failure. So someone deleted the disk. This could be done by anything, but what I did, I DD'd zeros over the headers of the disk, and cleared the LVM header, and then I restarted OSD2 because OSD2 would have continued to run on that disk, but eventually it would have failed, and then we would have seen that probably after the next reboot or whatever. So that's exactly what you saw. There was never any impact on the availability of the Ceph cluster and its storage. But what we saw was the disk was then later detected as having no headers, no usage on the disk. So Ceph in this configuration, as you see in the documentation also, is configured to use all available disks, and then after a while it's rescanned the disk and it saw, okay, that disk is actually available again, and then it looked at that. You can actually list your devices. Let me ping you a command over. They can try out. It's fun. The Ceph command is really cool to do things over all nodes of the cluster, and like this we can look at the disks and how they're used. So if you would have executed that command, you would have seen at the very beginning that the disk is somehow locked and not used by any OSD, and now it automatically saw that the disk is available again and it reused it. Now, that would have been the same case if we went ahead and the disk was faulty, we replaced it. If the new disk comes in, Ceph detects it and fixes the cluster automatically. So basically, you did a lot of things for no reason, and Ceph would have fixed itself.
I realized that when you started discussing the problem, I was like, I literally did a lot of looking while Ceph fixed the problem. So that's awesome.
Yeah, so there is a lot of cleaning up to do, right? So we're still in health warning, and that is because the Ceph cluster, when you do a Ceph OSD tree, you still have OSD2 in there. Now, what we know is all PGs are fine. So we're fine to actually remove the OSD2. So I'm gonna tell you how to remove OSD2 now. So you run ceph org OSD. I'll type it to you so it's not. You can just force remove the OSD. That way it won't wait for OSD2 to reappear and give the cluster the data back, and will immediately remove OSD2 from any part of the cluster, and then Ceph basically forgets about it.
Okay, so it said unable to find.
Oh,
It's OSD dot 2. No? Okay.
No, that's...
Doesn't like either of them.
It's supposed to be 2. Do Ceph org OSD RM status.
No remove replace operations reported.
Well, that's interesting. Why is it still on a crush map? Alright, I removed it from the crush map, and now that should clearing things up. So for some reason, that did not happen from Ceph ADM itself.
Ah,
Now we still have OSD2 in there, but it now has the status destroyed. This is something new. In preparation for this and testing, I wasn't aware of this. So by having this here as destroyed, that means the next OSD that comes in will get that name tag. So what we could do now is we could actually go in and now replace OSD6 again, like delete it, replace the disk, Ceph it, and then when it comes back, it's detected again the disk. It will use OSD2 again, and then we'll end up with a cluster that is as before again with OSD2 and 5 on demo 3.
interesting. That's pretty cool.
Right, but I think that's enough. Enough harassing you with Ceph problems. The Ceph cluster is going to clean it up itself up pretty soon now. This is just a problem of refreshing its status, the daemons for Ceph ADM, and cleaning that all up. And then it'll come back to health okay.
Makes sense. Cool. Well, thank you, hands and
Right.
feet.
Thanks, Mike, and see you around.
All right, cheers. Thank you.